UMM, a class of 2002. My major was sociology. I served, known back then as a resident prime minister, school year 2001-2002. Just to give you some idea of what was happening during that time, on September 11th, 2001, Joey Patterson, my friend here, and I were in the basement of the Student Center in KUMM studios, having a weekly Tuesday morning radio show of Finer Than Swiss Chocolate, and we heard a plane had hit the World Trade Center. I thought it was a joke, but as we all know, it was no joke. And following that horrible event, the campus ministers at the time, Jeff and Carol Schaefer, and 4 other resident ministers, plus myself, we all organized an ecumenical prayer service on the wall. And that's how, and it was the first night of a longer Bible study called Pizza and Parables. This is how spiritually aware everyone was that day. We had 30 people show up that day. After that, the next week, we had 10. After that, it tapered off. So that's a little bit about my senior year of college. I have a lot of new faces, so I'm going to talk briefly about how I came to start writing this book. Back in 2007, I was volunteering for Gillette Lifetime Specialty Healthcare, which is an adult clinic affiliated with a Gillette Children's Hospital in St. Paul. And I was asked to write an autobiographical article for a new magazine that came out, first issue came out in 2006. It's entitled, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it profiles young adults with disabilities. The article never became published, but as I started writing the article, a light bulb popped off in my head, and I thought to myself, this will make a good book project. So that's how the book idea was born. And I will highlight some of the points I want you to remember in the introduction. I have what is known as ataxia, more specifically static congenital recessive cerebellar ataxia. It is one of the most rare conditions of its kind. Only 1 in 1.5 billion people in the world have it. There are 4 known cases in the world. I enjoy sharing this story. And in the introduction, I almost minored in French. I would have had to study in France for a short amount of time. Let's see. I'll read it verbatim here. I was in Paris, France in June of 2000 on an international family vacation. Shortly after leaving the Paris International Airport, I was very jet-lagged and stumbling around a lot. I encountered some French teenagers at the old part of Paris. Our brief conversation went something like this. Prévenez-vous de la bière? Pas Jean-Jean besoin, which translated into English from French is, do you have any beer? No, I need some. I think it doesn't take too long to find the humor in this. I clearly was not drunk, nor did I have any beer. When I travel to other cultures, I'm very reluctant to explain to the people I meet what's really going on with me. The term ataxia is Greek, and it means a lack of order. It refers to a number of hereditary conditions of the cerebellum. The cerebellum is in the rear of the brain, contained not just in humans, but in all mammals. It controls a balance, our regulation of speech, and higher level executive decision making. Let's see. I want to highlight I have traveled to 15 countries on 4 different continents. I list the continents and I list the countries. Oh, yes. I talk about one of my favorite movies. I talk a little bit about church history. I think the copy I have is a little, some of the copies might be a little mixed up. Oh yes. And the final thing is that when I was a child, at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities Medical Center, I received a lot of tests. And when I was 4 years old, I received the most painful test I could ever imagine. I received a 6-inch long needle in my pelvis to take a bone marrow out of my pelvis. And toward the end of my introduction, I explain in great detail about that test. The point was, I was a human guinea pig. I've had probably 15 to 20 different tests, including 2 MRIs, a PET scan, EKG, EEG, and many blood tests. When I was a freshman at UMM, I went to Oyate to get blood. At that point, I could not really define my condition. It wasn't until 2006 I went to a neurologist. They ran me through a battery of lore tests. And through that, they identified that my cerebellum has failed to develop fully. My neurologist said that my cerebellum looks like a World War I veteran who got hit by a mortar shell in the back of the head. And that I haven't put in the introduction. Are there any questions about the intro? Because I'm looking for critiques at this point. And I've made a lot of progress. This is only one of three chapters. I'm on my, well, this being the introduction, I count this as the first chapter. I have, let's see, I have 2.5 chapters done. I'm halfway through chapter 2. So this is just what I want to cover in the book.
I don't know if everyone's got a chance to really read it, but I have some questions. Maybe it's in the intro, but like other years, can you tell us a little bit about what this affects with your speech, with your walking, like what, yeah,
okay,
that kind of stuff.
I have low muscle tone in my calves and ankles, and this is a leg brace. I have also known as a bilateral AFOs, ankle foot orthosis. That's in the introduction. These range from anywhere, the other ones over on the couch there, these range anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. Reason they're so expensive is they're custom made. What happens, there's a plaster wrap that is wrapped over a hard plastic tube that goes from my top of my calf to the bottom of my toes, and then around the hard plastic wrap, the plaster wrap is wrapped. And then they cut it off. Then once they have the plaster wrap, they pour molten plastic down the mold that they've made, let it cool, and then they work with the solid molten plastic is the brace that you see here. And then the most sophisticated part of the brace, it's apt to break the easiest, is the hinge. And I'll pass this one around. The hinge actually snapped on that one.
How did it snap? Did you just throw yourself against the wall?
I get teased. I'm one of the most active patients with ankle foot orthosis. They're like, every time I break them, I hear, "You sure beat the heck out of these things." Yes, I get my money's worth.
But you were saying other years, like just the way the pressure is on your when you walk, it doesn't take all that much. It's not like you have to jump up. cliff to break them.
No, absolutely not. If I were to go right, if I had the, like something or some things that physically I can't do, after I graduated from Morris, I took adaptive driver or some ed behind the wheel. I was deemed unsafe to operate a motor vehicle. So my reaction time is slower, and driving is out of the question. I don't rock climb. I'm unable to rappel off tall buildings. I definitely break on my braces out that way. I do want to try skydiving. I've tried scuba diving in a pool. And I have no intention of my minor of physical disability ever slowing me down.
I don't know, I'm sure this isn't the introduction too, but other years you broke apart the title of the...
Yes, I can talk a little bit about that. The aesthetic means it will not change my time. Congenital means the onset is at birth or before birth. A recessive means it's a very rare. In this case, extremely rare. A cerebellar means anything affiliated with the cerebellum. And my hope and wish, God willing, is to get a three-dimensional model of a human brain that I can pair along with these presentations. The cheapest one I found on the internet is $60. The most expensive is about $350. And the running joke is that I should go to the psych lab and request, can I borrow your brain? And let's see. Anyone else have any questions? I'm trying to shorten it a little bit because I know I got Joey and Brother Max yet to present. Max, have any questions?
Yeah, could you kind of describe how you witness to your faith, and you've called this presentation Faith and Disability at your place of work?
At my place of work. Well, I'm a people greeter at the St. Anthony Walmart in Northeast Minneapolis, and the majority of my co-workers are Somali Muslims. I have worn a rosary around my neck to work, and I heard about it. Oh, really? They did not like that too much. The Muslims I work with, okay, keep your faith to yourself. Around the world, I was in Germany in 2005 for World Youth Day, and I received a lot of compliments out there that my joy is contagious. And despite the disability, I am able to hold down a job, travel the world, and look at life. As I said in my introduction, it's in there. I look at life. I look at life as a glass half full, not half empty, despite whatever circumstances I might be going through. One of my favorite saints is St. Augustine of Hippo, and he was quoted in his Confessions by saying, let me find it here. Our heart is restless until it rests in thee, O Lord. How that pertains to my life is that I look at my challenges as I cannot get through them by my own strength. I also like the acronym FROG, fully rely on God. Any other questions?
To these guys, and then people can
Okay.
get back eventually and do homework. So thank you, Shannon.
I will look at the one phrase till I go.
So
Thank
easy.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though it's broken.
I'm gonna come over here.